Love is not merely an emotion. It is the foundation upon which the deepest, most meaningful connections in our lives are built. When we speak of love, it's easy to reduce it to fleeting feelings or romantic gestures. But love at its core is a force, a profound, unshakable commitment to the well-being of another person. It is what transforms fragile, tenuous relationships into bonds that withstand the tests of time and adversity. Love is what turns vulnerability into strength, conflict into reconciliation, and individuality into unity. It is perhaps the most powerful glue that holds humanity together. The true power of love lies not in its ability to shield us from pain, but in its ability to turn pain into a catalyst for growth. It is through love that we find the courage to face our fears and confront the challenges that threaten to tear us apart. In love, we learn that vulnerability is not weakness, but the doorway to intimacy. To love at all, as C.S. Lewis said, is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one. But in withholding love, we also withhold life. Love demands risk, but it rewards us with meaning. Consider the nature of trust in relationships. Trust is not given freely. It is earned through actions that consistently demonstrate care and commitment. Love, in this sense, is not just an abstract feeling. It is action. It is showing up when it's inconvenient, forgiving when it's hard, and choosing to see the best in someone even when circumstances tempt you to do otherwise. In love, we are called to rise above our selfish tendencies and put the needs of another person before our own. This is not an act of weakness, but an act of extraordinary strength. It is in the act of loving that we become greater than we are. As Lao Tzu said, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Love also teaches us the art of compromise, which is essential in any enduring bond. Compromise is not about losing, it's about learning how to win together. It is the recognition that no one person can have everything their way, and that true happiness comes from shared victories, not solitary ones. In love, we surrender the need to always be right and instead prioritize the health of the relationship. This is not a surrender of self, but a celebration of partnership. It is saying we are in this together, and together we are stronger than we could ever be alone. In moments of conflict, love becomes the bridge that prevents us from drifting apart. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship. It is the natural consequence of two distinct individuals coming together. But love shifts our perspective on conflict. Instead of seeing it as a threat, love allows us to see it as an opportunity to grow closer. It reminds us to listen, to understand, and to approach disagreements, not with a desire to win, but with a desire to connect. As Rumi once wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." In the context of love, even our wounds can become sources of healing when approached with grace and understanding. Forgiveness, too, is an integral part of love's unyielding strength. To forgive is not to condone wrongdoing, but to choose freedom over resentment. Love recognizes that no one is perfect, and that holding on to anger only imprisons us. In forgiving, we release ourselves from the chains of bitterness and open the door to renewal. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive, said Martin Luther King Jr. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it does transform it, turning a source of pain into a foundation for deeper connection. Perhaps one of the greatest miracles of love is its ability to turn differences into strengths. In a world where division often seems to dominate, love has the power to unite. It sees beyond superficial differences and focuses on the shared humanity that binds us all. Love does not demand that we be the same. It celebrates our uniqueness while fostering understanding and acceptance. In love, we find the humility to learn from each other and the wisdom to appreciate perspectives different from our own. This is how love builds bridges where there were once walls. Love is also profoundly resilient. It does not shy away from adversity, but embraces it as a chance to prove its strength. Life will inevitably throw challenges our way, loss, disappointment, and hardship. But love turns these challenges into opportunities for growth. It gives us the fortitude to endure and the hope to rebuild. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of unimaginable suffering, wrote, "The salvation of man is through love and in love." Even in the darkest moments, love provides a light that guides us forward. In the end, love is a choice. It is not something that simply happens to us. It is something we must actively cultivate. Every day, we are presented with countless opportunities to choose love through our words, our actions, and our intentions. It is in these small, everyday choices that the unbreakable bonds of love are formed. Love is not a grand gesture, but a series of small, consistent acts that say, "I see you, I value you, and I am here for you." As we navigate the complexities of life and relationships, we must remember that love is not about perfection. It is not about never making mistakes or never experiencing pain. Rather, it is about the commitment to keep showing up, to keep trying, and to keep growing. It is about holding on to the belief that no matter what storms come our way, love will be the anchor that keeps us grounded and the sail that propels us forward. Love makes every bond unbreakable, not because it eliminates all difficulties, but because it gives us the tools to face them together. It is a force that transforms weakness into strength, fear into courage, and isolation into connection. It is the essence of what it means to be human, and it is the greatest gift we can give to one another. Let us choose love, not just in the grand moments, but in the small, everyday acts that define our lives. Let us remember that in love we find the power to create bonds that not only endure but flourish, no matter what challenges come our way. When we embrace love, we take on one of life's greatest challenges and privileges, the opportunity to truly connect with others. Love is not merely a feeling of affection or a fleeting state of euphoria. It is a deliberate and powerful act of will. It is choosing to care, to nurture, to commit, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's difficult, and even when it feels like the world is pulling you apart. Love is the quiet force that binds us together, a force that defies logic and transcends understanding. It demands of us our best, and in return, gives us the strength to endure life's most profound hardships. It transforms relationships into sanctuaries of trust, resilience, and mutual growth. To love someone is to acknowledge their humanity fully, their strengths and flaws, their triumphs and failures. It is to see another person not as a means to an end, but as an end in themselves. Love allows us to step outside the narrow confines of our own concerns and embrace a broader, more generous perspective. It teaches us the importance of sacrifice, the value of empathy, and the necessity of forgiveness. As the philosopher Martin Buber once said, love does not cling to the I in such a way as to have the thou only for its content, its object, but love is between I and thou. In love, we are called to meet others in their fullness, to accept them not despite their imperfections, but because of them. There is an extraordinary power in love's ability to bridge divides and mend fractures. In a world often marked by discord, love serves as the ultimate unifier. It reminds us that we are more alike than we are different, that our shared humanity outweighs the superficial distinctions that so often separate us. Love teaches us to listen, not to respond, but to understand. It calls us to put aside our egos and approach one another with humility and grace. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend, said Martin Luther King Jr. This transformation is not easy, nor is it quick. It requires patience, courage, and a willingness to confront our own biases and fears. But the rewards of such effort are immeasurable. The beauty of love is found not in its perfection, but in its persistence. Love endures, not because it is free from challenges, but because it chooses to face them head on. It is in the moments of difficulty, when misunderstandings arise, when tempers flare, when doubts creep in, that the true strength of love is revealed. These are the moments when love becomes a choice rather than a feeling, when we decide to stay, to fight, to work through the messiness of human connection. Love does not promise an easy path, but it does promise a meaningful one. Where there is love, there is life, said Mahatma Gandhi, and it is in love's tenacity that life finds its most profound expression. Trust is one of the most critical elements of love, and it is also one of the most fragile. Trust is not given, it is built, brick by brick, through consistent actions and words. It requires honesty, integrity, and a willingness to be vulnerable. Trust is the foundation upon which love stands, and without it, the structure crumbles. But trust, like love itself, is not static. It must be nurtured and reaffirmed daily. It requires us to show up, to keep our promises, to act in ways that reinforce our commitment. In doing so, we create a bond that can withstand the pressures and trials of life. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them, Ernest Hemingway wrote. Trust, like love, is a leap of faith, but it is a leap worth taking. Forgiveness, too, is an essential component of love's resilience. To love is to accept that no one is perfect, that we are all flawed and fallible. Forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoings, but about choosing to let go of resentment and bitterness. It is about giving others the grace that we ourselves so often need. In forgiving, we release ourselves from the burden of anger and open the door to healing and reconciliation. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it, Mark Twain observed. In love, forgiveness is not a weakness, but a profound act of strength. It is an acknowledgement that the bond we share is more significant than the hurt we have experienced. Love also challenges us to grow, both as individuals and as partners. It pushes us to become better versions of ourselves, to confront our shortcomings, and to strive for greater understanding and compassion. In love, we are called to support and encourage one another, to celebrate each other's victories, and to stand firm in times of struggle. Love is not stagnant. It is dynamic, constantly evolving and deepening. It is a journey, not a destination, and its true beauty lies in the process. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies, Aristotle said, and in this union, we find the strength to face life's challenges together. The most extraordinary thing about love is its ability to inspire courage. Love gives us the strength to face our fears, to endure hardship, and to persevere in the face of adversity. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we have someone to lean on, someone to fight for, someone to stand beside us. In love, we find the courage to be vulnerable, to open ourselves to the possibility of pain, and to embrace the uncertainty of human connection. This courage is not born of naivety, but of a deep, abiding belief in the power of love to transform and uplift. In its highest form, love transcends the individual and becomes a force for good in the world. It calls us to look beyond our own needs and to care for others, to extend kindness and compassion to those who may never repay us. Love teaches us that we are all interconnected, that our actions have ripple effects, and that our greatest purpose lies in serving others. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive, said the Dalai Lama. In choosing love, we choose to build a world rooted in connection, understanding, and hope. Love is not without its challenges, but it is these challenges that give it depth and meaning. It is through love that we learn to overcome our fears, to rise above our differences, and to create bonds that are truly unbreakable. Love is not easy, but it is worth every effort. It is the foundation of all that is good and enduring in life, and it is the most profound gift we can offer one another. Let us choose love, not just in the grand gestures, but in the small, everyday moments that define our lives. Let us remember that in love we find the strength to create connections that endure no matter the storms we face. Let us choose love, and in doing so, let us choose a life of meaning, purpose, and joy.